Welcome back everyone to Let's Play Supreme Ruler Ultimate episode number 21. We have a few items to address before we dive into the time progression and all that. We'll keep an eye on everything going on in the Vietnam War. Well, that's what I call it. It's technically the French-Chinese War, but it's basically devolved into what we historically would kind of refer to this as the Vietnam War. So we have a few things that are happening with the ships out here. I went through the entire ship list, and any ship which was damaged, which we have a few of, I sent them back for repairs and somehow missed that one. So there we go. Hopefully I didn't miss too many others. So there'll probably be a big exodus of ships back to Wake Island, Midway, whatever. Which one's this? This is Wake Island, yeah. So Wake Island might be the closest. I don't think that they go to the puppet regions. Although these, I don't even know if those have naval bases anyway. So they'll go back and get repaired. We'll keep an eye on the Midway here. Speaking about that, let's go through our production group. So I assigned repairs. I also scrapped the one motorized infantry that was confusing me. This does showcase, by the way, the two different engineer types. 6.4 for 8.7. This is the country of origin multiple. I don't know why we have those, because we have access to this. The other one was 8.7. This is 2.15. Same strength, 7.4 instead of 6.4. 9.7 instead of like 6.6 or something like that. 8.7. Okay, so it's slightly better in defense. Anyways, this is like 4 times more expensive, slightly worse. It's just in every way not desirable, not as desirable as the specific United States version. So what are we going to do about that? Well, nothing. I mean, it's not worth my time, I think, to actually produce the cheaper one. This is what we could do. So this is a new one altogether, which costs 10 million, and this is, I mean, much better than the one that cost 8.7 million to the maintenance for is 8.7 or whatever. Reaction time. Oh, I didn't look at reaction time. Perhaps the reaction time is, it's medium here. It's medium here, so it's low on this new unit, which means it's almost, I guess it is worse than just sticking to this one. So I don't even know where this other motorized infantry is. It doesn't even appear that we have access to it. I think it might even be, okay, this is what I'm guessing. It was actually a mistake that it was put under our command to begin with. They probably had a unit model and they got it confused at some point when they were placing units for this scenario. So, anyways, I mean, what we could do is build a bunch of these motorized and replace all the other motorized. The fact that the reaction time is, it's probably only one higher. Again, this is a number like 1 through 10. Is it 1 through 10? Yeah, I think it's 1 through 10. Maybe 1 through 9. Anyway, the typical number for medium is like 5. High, I think, is even 6, I think is high. Maybe 7, 8, 9, but so it could be that this is a reaction time of 5 and the other one is a reaction time of 4. Could be like almost no difference, very little, but it's enough that it changes this general display of reaction time from one to the other. Wait, this is mounted infantry. I keep thinking that this is. We sent this one, by the way. This one is right here, and you can see he's grayed out, or he has an action queued up, and that is for him to go get scrapped. So we're gonna go ahead and scrap that one. Not worth it. So I've been having this talk about selling stuff to Japan, and this is the good news. Okay, so let's start with the big news for this. The government. The government has come and they've had a big closed-door meeting, whatever you want to call it. I don't know the way these things would be decided exactly, but in my mind, there was a big decision, a big discussion, and a decision reached from this discussion that the U.S. government is going to go ahead and retain a higher active and reserve force than we originally anticipated. What this means in game terms is we're giving ourselves a role-playing background to have a larger standing army. When I talked about selling units off or scrapping them or whatever, that mounted infantry is an exception, but I've decided now I'm just going to keep all my units. China is huge. And if we need to fight China, the stretch of border we need, just the number of hexes from here to here is enormous. To have even one unit on all of these, I think would be very doable, but In the very congested areas with cities and everything, we can expect Chinese forces to be also very congested, and we should have to respond in kind. So, I mean, if let's just eyeball this and say this is 10, 20, 30, 40, let's call it 50. Just be, that's maybe an overestimate, but let's say 50 hexes. 50 times 7 is 350. So we would need at least 350 units. I mean, we would need 350 units to occupy the border with 7 units in there. And that's a little bit more than we need. But just using that as like a reference figure, and the number should be much worse, I think. Not in this part. This is probably only, like 30 hexes. But it gets a lot worse, I think, up here. We probably won't need... I mean, the supply is so bad in some parts of this area. Yeah, it's just 0. So we might not need to fight... I'm okay, we're getting ahead of ourselves a little bit. Essentially, the point is, let's increase the standing army a little bit so that we have enough units. Like, look at how many units are on the border here. Although you can argue that the Chinese also don't have that many units on the border. We don't have enough to actually make a push. This is just enough to make a push inward on this road. So, what I'm trying to say is essentially we're going to keep all the easy 8s. I'm not going to scrap them or sell them after all. And we're just going to continue to build more. And I do want to build better technology. This is part of the plan, right? So, we'll not build too many of the stuff we have going on right now. We'll continue to wait for better technology. For example, the Green Berets we can just go crazy on. For the Rangers, it's like I do have this desire to get rid of them because they are so significantly worse. Remember, the values for the Rangers is 12 and 12. And I think like something like 21 and 18 or something like that. And you can see the Green Berets are just so much better. And they're extremely cheap. The Rangers are even cheaper. They're only like 800,000. But basically, if something costs 3 pennies or something costs 1 penny, yeah, sure, the thing which costs 3 pennies is 3 times as much. But you can just look at the like raw value, the actual value versus the relative value. You can just say, well, that one, you can say the Green Beret costs 3 times as much. Or you can just say, oh, it costs 2 pennies more. So if you put it that way, 2 pennies more is just not enough for us to warrant building the Rangers. But I by the same token, or on, I guess the flip side of that coin is we're going to keep both. Okay, what's the other news? That's going to be true for all the armed forces. We're going to go ahead and build 2 more midways because I was examining our current fleet disposition. And I think we could be pretty happy with a couple more midways. The midways are really the ones we want to keep. The Essex class, these are not essentially, but very just definitively outdated. What is the... Gosh, I can't remember the name of it. I'm going to remember it. The Forrestal. We have the Forrestal class available, I believe. Although we didn't research it, maybe? Yeah. The Forrestal is just better in every way. Just better in every way. And on top of that, we have the Enterprise, which we really don't want to build the Enterprise because of this huge uranium cost and the relatively minor difference in every other way. The only thing you're getting is that the Enterprise is like unsinkable. It has 750 land defense or sea defense versus Forrestal's 400. Let's take a look at what the Midway is. 380. So these are not, I mean, just compared to the Enterprise, they're about twice easier to sink. That's a pretty significant gap. Anyway, so when the Green Berets come along, we'll go ahead and build those like crazy. I was also looking at the state of our Air Force. This is kind of like a State of the Union address, but for us, it's mostly regarding the military. We do have a lot of patrol aircraft, and I was still thinking, what do we do with these? Do we get rid of them? I guess the answer is no. So I looked at all of these. I was like, oh, the privateers are this and that, and they all have little benefits. And like the Neptune is slightly slower, has slightly lower spotting range, but it actually has fairly decent attack characteristics or attack statistics, capabilities maybe is the word. The Mariner, much lower attack capabilities, except for ships it's higher. It's worse against anti-air, it's easier to destroy. I think it was easier to destroy. 5-6. Yeah, 9-9. So this is 12-9-9, and this is 8-5-6. So it's much easier to destroy, but it has longer range. I mean, longer spotting range. It's slightly cheaper. I mean, this money value is not going to be... I don't want to focus on that too much. So it's really hard to say what is the best one to get rid of, because honestly, sometimes it's better to use for your own sanity, for the player, for the human who has to do the micromanagement. It's easier to use less scouting planes with longer range, so you don't have to use as many to fill the gaps. Now, I think if you're playing as anybody besides the United States, like a European country, for example, you don't really need to worry about this as much, but the amount of coast that if you want to scout everything coming in, you need to cover as the United States is just insane. So I might experiment. I mean, I've never used really these initiative options to let the AI scout for me. I would like to do that, but anyways, it's something to consider now that we're running into these huge numbers. Okay, last thing I wanted to talk about is one thing I considered doing is actually selling these Clevelands. So I know I just talked about how I don't want to do it, but these, because of just some silly bug, these Clevelands are very, very slow, 33 kilometers an hour, but they have really good statistics. So the problem is, I mean, look at, they're harder to kill even than the Midway. But what do you do with them if they're only 33 kilometers an hour? Well, I mean, they're pretty good paired with a couple of destroyers to make sure they don't get sunk by any submarines. So I brought them all over, and we kind of want to just throw them into the meat grinder and let them do any work that they need to. And I've also decided that we are going to keep the Bearcats around. We're going to keep the Bearcats, and I'm building 2 more Midways. We're going to put 1 Bearcat to each of the Midways. We don't even have enough to do that, but 1 will be assigned to every Midway until we run out of Bearcats. Because I think that they're pretty good as like combat scouts. Obviously, we saw that they don't survive very long, but they do defend themselves. They should equip themselves adequately in any kind of air combat. Hopefully not die as easily as the last one did, but they are lower on strength, so they just really are not meant to be used as combat creatures. Okay, let's unpause. There was other stuff I wanted to do. I think it's just mostly deploy forces, and we can do that while the game is running. So, do we want to deploy the Rangers, though? Or do we want to keep the Rangers as kind of like almost like a National Guard? Kind of relegate them to a secondary position. I do want to keep the Shermans across the seas. In fact, if we have any other Shermans that we can deploy, if we have any... No, not deployed units. We have M103s, is that it? No, we do have... Oh, the one thing I did want to sell. Yes, that's right. Japan is going to get something. They're going to get 4 airborne and 1 M26 Sherman. That's what we want to do. Want to give them these. These are units that we do simply not want any longer. And although they can't really make use of the airborne capacity of the airborne, they're decent enough troops as it is. And the tank. Yeah. Okay, so what do they want to give us for this? 18, that's fine. And we could make it even less, but we'll just accept that. Yeah, the rubber is still overdue from the UK. That's fine, we don't mind. Because they will ship it off when they have it. Okay, well then I guess the next step is just to focus on the Chinese-French little conflict here. Now so I'm just going to reiterate this. We're making some roleplay justification for a decision to pull out of Southeast Asia. But just mind you, this decision is entirely, like, maybe not 100%, but 99% influenced by the fact that due to just very bad pathfinding in Supreme Ruler, and it's not even, you don't notice it in any other way, really, but this is just an egregious affront to the game mechanics or playing the game. So that's that one mounted infantry who's finally scrapped it. So good, they agreed to it. Leningrad has been the graveyard for over 2,000 merchant marines, which is merchant marine itself is just the vessel containing what could be anything from like mediocre infantry to expensive tanks, they've all just suicided to Leningrad because of the pathfinding that for some reason takes the merchant marine into this area. And it doesn't make any sense because there's no place they can go. Like they can go deep water, 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 and then here it's shallow water and they can't go any further. So I guess that they're trying to get here, but that doesn't do anything for them. I frankly don't understand. There's no pathfinding solution to go from Leningrad to anywhere but the inside of the USSR. Nonetheless, they attempt it. Now, again, I said that I reached out to somebody at the Battle Goats development team, and he said he would look into it. So hopefully we hear back from him something positive, some way, some game fix. But until that comes, for the remainder of it, at least, I mean, what we're targeting for this series, is just to eliminate their ability to do that by eliminating the reason the AI would want to send troops over here to begin with. And hopefully, the further south that these troops are sent, the less incentive there is to use this northern route. This is just my hope. All we can do is hope. What is this? Merchant Marine, huh? And I think we will still get aggressive with our aircraft here. So Danong has still not fallen, which is good to see. Well, maybe it's not good to see, right? I just talked about how it'd be better if the whole place just fell. And research-wise, what do we want to talk about for research? Oh, also missiles. So as far as missiles go, we don't really have anything we want to build. I know that we got the hook. And we also have this bullpup, which we have 20 of. These are actually pretty decent, size 2, so you know what? Let's go ahead and get another 10. The size 2 means almost everything can carry it. The hook with the size 5, I looked, it's not really going to be that useful for us. We'll keep it as just something we've researched, and it's very easy to build it if we want it. It takes 10 days. Oh yeah, satellites. So we need a orbital launch system to launch satellites. Let's go ahead and look at the supply. Is it S? Yeah. Oh, supply's not even that great over here anymore. But we can solve that. We just got to build some more supply stuff. Supply depot in Moore Park. And just build 2 there. Where, when the unemployment starts finally going away, I mean, as in we have more of it, not going away, but the opposite of that. What's this? This industrial? With nothing attached to it? Okay, well, let's scrap this. Turn off our supply map mode. There are these 2 bases, and I don't really see any reason to keep them out in the middle of nowhere. Like, we have plenty of barracks. Barracks is just going to be used to, well, generate supply, but the supply here doesn't propagate really anywhere because there's no roads connected to these, and just the barracks itself. Essentially what I'm saying is I feel like we'd be better off scrapping these. Like, look at this. It's an industrial complex just all by itself. We'll scrap that. Here's another one. We'll scrap this as well. I think that these used to have hydro plants, small ones, and we just scrapped those a long time ago. So stuff that has the land production, we want to keep those. Those are interesting. And one of the things we'll want to do, let me unpause, I didn't mean to pause. One of the things we'll want to do is actually build rails to these things. So a lot of, the United States has a lot of inefficiencies like this. It's like a huge country. To go around solving all these issues would take a lot of time. It's something that I definitely would not do on camera. And I frankly don't have the like, I don't know, capacity is not the word, but desire to do it even off camera. It's a lot of work. Okay, so to me it makes sense to just run a railroad like down to connect all these different things. I kind of like connecting the airfield, but that's fine. We won't do it yet. Good. So we have more, you know, accessibility to this area, which we will be using. It's all part of the West Coast high supply area, so where we'll be building most of everything for now. What we're actually targeting is a place where we can build this launch pad. And it looks like Portland is a good... Portland, good old cloudy Portland is a terrible place for a launch pad in reality. But such things are not abstracted in the game, not taken into consideration. So we'll see if... Where's the military complex around here? Where is it? Here? There is one here. It's not really ideal. This one's pretty much full. Can you build the launch pads wherever? Okay, so if we can build the launch pads wherever, we'll build this in Beaverton. Wait, supplies changed. It's adapting. I mean, these are all really high. Somebody asked, by the way, what the supply percentage, how does it affect research, production, etc.? I don't know exactly, but I treat it as just a linear modifier. So if supply is 90%, you're doing 90% of the production that you would have done. That may not be correct. Actually, the way I usually think about it is I believe it to be it's actually a linear scale between 0.5 and 1. So I kind of assume that even with 0 supply, you would still get 50% production, but frankly, that might not be the case. It might just be exactly a linear scale. Okay, who cares about domestic prices? Approvals really hanging at 31.9 for a long time. We're continuing to support Nepal. Good. Okay. Where does this launch pad going to go, though? I mean, we can always just put a supply center in, like, Tacoma. Let's build it here. Question is, can we build a launch pad? No. So it does have to be, what, a military place? Yes. Okay, well then we'll build one here. And that's all we need to do. We can also build a telemetry center, I think. I know there's a military base somewhere near Portland. Wasn't there? Am I going crazy? Maybe. Oh, yeah, there it is. No, we don't want to do it there. And there's another military base over here. So let's just pretend like we're going to build military complex. So show me where these are. Yeah. Okay, there's also ones down here that we can use. The ones near San Francisco. Let's use the ones near Los Angeles. I think has better supply. Even San Diego has really good supply. So we can just bolster the supply. Like San Bernardino, you can get supply, or, you know, frankly, we want to make sure we're not using places. We want to use the military base itself, I think. Let's see. How do I want to do? I want to connect this. Which one do I want to connect it to? I think I'll connect it like this. Whoops, why did it do it that way? Huh. I don't know if it really wants to do it. Okay, so now let's build supply here as well. And then let's also build the telemetry, orbital telemetry. Which I'm not sure what I think maybe it boosts the effectiveness of satellites. Why are we doing this? Because if we want to build communication satellites, we need the launch pad. So here it is. It says launch pad required to launch satellites. So we'll just get on that. And that may have actually delayed. That may have actually taken some of our. Wow, they are pushing. They might have taken some of our. That might have taken some jobs. We might need some jobs to supply those things, but I'll allow it essentially. I'll slow down our unemployment gain slightly in order to get satellites up, which is really... Probably I shouldn't do that because it's just not time critical, but we'll role play it as, you know, something the United States wants to focus on. Well, we'll keep a carrier in the area. Maybe here. Yeah, mainly I want to just hunt down the enemy aircraft, but we kind of lost... I mean, after that last loss, I'm disheartened. 2.8, okay. Well, at least it's up to 2.8. Let's go up to fast as well, instead of normal. Nong is still holding, and here comes an M3 Ram. It's so funny because we just decimate these forces the moment we bring our peacemakers in, but yep, kind of intentionally we're not going to do that. So now we have the 30 bullpup air-to-ground missiles. 2 more midways being constructed. Finishing off the peacemakers. I think we have enough now. Excuse me. One thing we could consider doing is building more B-52s just to have a larger strategic deployment capability. By strategic reserves, or by strategic deployment, I mean nukes. Italy and Korea are now in an alliance. Good. And this is also nice because we were able to get rid of some of the units that I really didn't want to keep, which were the Pershings and... Wow, we still have a lot in reserve, huh? Of EZ-8s. I'm tempted to sell the ones that don't say the word EZ-8, which is pretty much all of them, unfortunately. But the good news is when we build other tanks, they do say M103 on them. I like to see the name of the unit in the unit's name. I mean, I like to see the type in the unit's name. What is this? Huh, that's a Mustang making a very long voyage. Quite a long trip from Taiwan down here just to fly, probably just air patrol for half a moment and then go back. Well, Nong is still holding, but geez. And how many losses? Oh, that's right. There's, yeah. The losses are not that high because, oh god. France has lost 1,400. Yeah, and I should mention this again, that if you're interested in playing this scenario, first of all, I do recommend the mod, even though I never used it. I'm recommending it because this is... But even if you don't use the mod, I really haven't seen this high of casualties. This is kind of an anomaly. Among the playthroughs I've seen, I've never seen them get over 2,000 kills. I haven't seen 2,000 kills like to 1970 even. But maybe that's because there's more conflict going on. In fact, in the previous playthroughs, I never saw France declare war on China. So we have a pretty strong correlation between activity in Southeast Asia and number of kills in Leningrad. Looks like most of the people have sacrificed all the units that they really want to now, which is good. We're kind of settling down. So I guess we're very soon going to have the ability to use the M103A2s. Although these are just about the same in terms of urban defense, and they're slightly more expensive even. Which, Conquer is what, like 80 million? It's very expensive already. Yep, 80 million. 22 and 20. What was the other one? 21 and 22? I already forgot. $18 and 21. 22 and 20 versus 18 and 21. So this one's slightly worse, frankly, in urban combat, but, you know, much better here. 38 kilometers, 480, 38. 480, 38. So it's faster, and probably the biggest thing is it has a lot more move range before it needs to refuel. 325 versus 511. So that's good. It's definitely more efficient. It's like 3 times the range for not quite even double the fuel. That's good. So it's definitely much more efficient. It moves faster. There are a lot of benefits. We'll get it just because it's supposed to be our main... Well, it's actually a heavy tank, not a main battle tank. We'd be building the Pattons if we wanted the main battle tank. But it's just not as good in the cities. It is still really good. I mean, 33 ground defense. I'm pretty sure that's, yeah, better than this one. So the main battle tank, the Patton, this also should be much worse than soft attack, but probably better in hard. 35. Not quite as good, but about the same. And actually, this one has 20 for soft attack, so it is lower, but not much lower. And obviously a much, much cheaper. I don't really like to consider building the M48 Patton. To me, that one... There is an M48 Patton, right? Am I crazy? There's an M47 Patton. Yeah, this one to me is a lot worse. 1720 versus 2030. Yeah, it's much worse. Much worse. But the M60 Patton seems like reasonable. You could actually make it your main battle tank, like it was for the US. 2033, much cheaper. So, you know, you just go for quantity over quality. That's just not the way I usually operate. I mean, it does have better ground defense. Alright, let's see how the war is going. Oh, wow, this is actually nice. Maybe. It might be really nice. Is that unit going to be destroyed? Kill him! He's so close to dead. And all these units are cut off. They got him! They got him! Hooray! And these guys are cut off from supply. That's going to be nice. That means that if they've already fired too much, they're just going to be destroyed. Yeah, there's a bit of an... It's another push back. These things are going in waves. It's like oscillations. Okay, our 5 peacemakers finished. And I think we have some units finishing their journey over. Good. I think we did. So let's get some more conquerors up here. Again, I don't actually want to move up exactly to the border. Because I believe that creates provocation. We don't want to provoke them yet. We just want to have units in position in case the order comes that we advance. We do have a lot of rangers still on the west coast. I don't know, like the army aspect. Oh, okay. Well, here's all the So I guess they went to Midway instead of Wake Island when they wanted to repair. We still have these. Okay, so let's get these guys to sea transport. These guys, I think, will go to Thailand. Yeah. We already have some rangers deploying here. Well, it looks like these guys are going to be best in this area. That's so far away from everything. Okay, we'll just put them up here for now. Maybe here? Okay, let's put them here. Is there enough supply there? Not really. Okay, let's put them in this little town then. Alright, let's see how that works. I keep hearing submarines. Oh, are the submarines over here? Yeah, I think the submarines are here. Maybe it's not submarines. Maybe it was just patrol ships doing damage. Who is this? Italians just getting themselves killed? Don't feed them! Please don't feed them anymore. These units are probably like insanely elite. Look at that guy with white star. The white star, that means he's probably killed... I mean, maybe over 100 units. I don't know. But I've never even seen that on any of my own units. It's beyond... Yeah, it's just insane. It's ridiculous. I've killed 30 more units this turn. Episode. Okay, so we'll accept the metal ore. We want to keep Switzerland on our side. How is Switzerland's political leanings right now? Or not political, but diplomatic. Have we already signed some agreements with them? No. Oh, never mind. They are Warsaw Pact aligned. Whoops. That's not good. Wonder if we can bring Austria back. If we throw enough money at you, will you come back? Usually they will go green at some point, but then they'll say, we're just kidding. Well, these guys might not, they might not be joking around. Yeah, they will not ever give us criminal extradition. It's funny. Okay, Nepal's moved up to 4 bars. That's fantastic. And domestic approval's up above 30%. Amazing. I mean, above 33%. Good old Nepal. We would like to be your friend. And we will give you money. Equally stubborn, I see. Sometimes these agreements don't get formed unless you go like full crazy with them. Nope, full crazy won't work quite yet. What if we take away criminal extradition? Nope. What about mutual defense? Let's just start taking these away. Wow, they don't even want it if, if we're giving it for free. Yep, we'll wait a little bit longer. But they're not aligned. I mean, maybe we can sway them into our corner. India's already made their decision. Pakistan. I think we're influencing Pakistan. We are. It's just we do have everything going. Okay, good. So let's see what happens here. Helicopter refueling probe. Which means that... Yeah, we're going to get the Sky Warrior in. And I do want the anti-submarine one. Did I already queue that? I don't think I did. But I do want it. The Grumman Patrol. Oh yeah, we must have already queued it up. So we already have the Neptune, but it's an earlier version. This is 136. Let's see what the attack... 18 is pretty good. Oh, but of course, patrol craft. Okay, so we have to watch out for that strength thing. I don't know if we want to build that many patrol craft, except for exactly to scout. And the good news about the naval ships is they actually have a pretty long range, long vision range to begin with. It can be a little bit annoying to try to give them scout orders. The airplanes on the carriers. I mean, just because it's more micromanagement. We're out of research options, though. So we might soon need to... Yeah, when the Globe Master finishes, what comes next? Well, I don't know. Does the B-52G lead to any more upgrades? Because if it does, then maybe we should get it. Although we have already seen that the B-52B didn't lead to the B-52D upgrade. And I don't think the D even leads to the G. I think they're all separate, but I could be wrong. Well, this is interesting. I mean, obviously the F3H1N Demon does not lead to the F3H-2 Demon. What does this thing look like? 23 at 47. Have we already cemented ourselves so like a really good interceptor? Oh, well, we haven't built the Phantom yet. The very low range Phantom, but still 38 at 44 kind of trumps anything else. We'll put that in the queue. Yeah, it's even going to be better than the Freedom Fighter here. And it's carrier based. I mean, I guess if you wanted range, you might go with... Frankly, the Freedom Fighter is not even as good as the Delta Dart. Delta Dagger. That's the one I always get confused with, the Delta Dart, the Delta Dagger. The names are too similar, if you ask me. Still 2.8%. Oh, and one thing I forgot to do, which we should have done right away. Did I do it? We should be putting all our troops, our engineers, right next to this building under construction. Aerospace engineering and orbital launch pad. Oh, I built them both there? I didn't even know that. Well, we were going to want some supply nearby then as well. Not that... There's a lot of supply in this area already, but let's just be very careful about it. So we'll construct all those things really close by, keep supply up, get the... Aerospace engineering. I think the aerospace engineering is where you build them, and the launch pad is where you launch them. So we'll have all those facilities here. I don't think we need to build one more than one. We're probably ahead of anything else in the satellite race. I mean, who knows? Maybe not. Oh, how's our carrier doing? Yeah, oh man, this is a huge push. The Japanese getting involved. What are they using? I think this is my carriers, didn't I mean, my submarines. Didn't I sell them? We have the... What was it? What class did I sell them? The Perch? These units are still cut off here. Huh. Nobody dares get close enough to them. Oh. Come on in. Ah. Of course they don't. They're just always teasing me. I mean, I could use my... We do have these... Do we have anybody... 2 is that group. I could reclassify 2 as being these skydivers or sky raiders. What happens if we do this? Okay, go back. Yes! Oh, this is great. We're really stirring up the hornet's nest. Almost got him. What was that? P-51. Corsairs fighting Mustangs. This is just madness. How do we do? Okay, so we did alright. Take a neutral fire, that's fine. We expected that. Okay, well, let's speed up as much as we can. I know that this is going to be a little bit slow with all the forces moving here. Do our best. 43 minutes. Okay, so what do we have coming up for research? We queued up the F4 Phantom. That's obviously a great call. But we need something else, because we have the Green Berets. We'll finish after that. So we need another thing. Maybe... Let's take a look at these. So this is 10 detection and 40 at 13. I just don't think these are very good. No detection, 57. Higher number here. 47 capacity. This is better. 77 capacity. At least it can detect them. No missile capability, which we should know. We would know that it'll have the missile icon over here. The Huey gunship. It's not very good at carrying much. Cannot carry even one unit for us. Just to carry a supply if we want. It's pretty garbage. Expensive garbage too. Let's look at the transport, which actually does have some of that. So maybe we can get... I mean, I know that we're already getting the Globemaster 2. Throwing on the Super Constellation would be a little bit overkill, but I'm still trying to figure out which of these is going to have an upgrade. And I just should, you know, access the list, which I have. And the same thing goes actually for the C-130 Hercules. Is this the upgrade? I'm going to have to force myself to off-camera look and make sure that this is not an upgrade to something. The Sea Stallion, a huge aircraft, carries, yeah, a fairly substantial amount of cargo. 211. Remember that this can hover. It's not an aircraft. It doesn't have to fly around and whatever. So we finished the supply depot and more park, and then March Field. Okay, this is all the ones in the south. Okay, good. Didn't use our engineers for this stuff either. How's the supply now? Looks like we actually... Oh, that's what we can use them for. Building all this stuff. Just want to make sure that this railway is constructed. Claims it is, but just because the graphics is missing, it's a little confusing. Let's put these guys right next to, or even somebody on the deployment pad, our seaport. Diplomatic offer. Okay, and how's our, like, I haven't really been paying attention to our economy. Oh my gosh, we have 2 million because we've basically taken all of it from Great Britain. And one thing we didn't do is like boost our consumer goods production a lot. I mean, we're still waiting for this unemployment. But okay, the M103s have all finished. That's good news. And as I was saying, it's already been 45, 46 minutes now. So we'll probably call this video to a close here. We're going basically as fast as we can. I mean, you can see that the game stops just like that, and stutters, and then loads. And this does happen as the game goes on. I believe it gets worse later on, but the good news is when you don't have war going on, and maybe one day this back and forth will end, and at peace, the world is, we can move at the highest speed without this problem. So let peace reign in our time, but of course let it be China who conquers. That's obviously not role-playing. That is 100% out of character remark. Just to stop the massive suicide at Leningrad. That's really the goal. And then we'll just have some, you know, we'll consider what it means for the U.S. that China has done this egregious offensive act to spread communism into the Vietnamese area and to other, like Cambodia, everywhere else in Southeast Asia. Probably take some liberating actions as soon as this all falls apart. If it does, I mean, again, the Chinese are, looks like they're pretty hard pressed. I think our bombing campaign, killing almost 600 units, really hurt them. Although you'd have to say that this, which was at 1,300 before, now is at, just keeps ticking up. They've lost 500,000. Oh, I mean, I guess China's lost 500,000 people, but France has lost 500,000 people. That's a huge blow to the French, and the French are one of the stronger militaries in NATO. I mean, probably I think that I want to say, okay, we got the Globe Master, and we have one thing in queue. I want to say that they are the second strongest. Great Britain is probably stronger in terms of air, in terms of naval power, but in terms of land power, there's, you know, the French have a, well, had, I should say, at least at the game start, a lot of units. So we'll see what happens. I'll just go close here right before we hit the 50-minute mark. Until the next episode, let's cancel these things. Get that. Good. Thanks for watching, and take care.